Hello and welcome to video number 9 in this series. In this video I'll be discussing polynomials and reviewing how to add and subtract them. So here's the algebraic expression that represents a general polynomial of degree n. So there's just a whole bunch of terms that are added together. And so n here is a non-negative integer, and the a's are the coefficients, and those are all real numbers. And the only constraint there is that the first one, which is called the leading coefficient, an, is not equal to 0. And each of these pieces, so the an x to the n, an minus 1, x to the n minus 1, and so on, these are all called terms. And then the very last coefficient, a0, is called the constant. So here's an example. So we're going to have 2x cubed minus 4x squared plus 1. So this is a degree 3 polynomial, because of the 3 here. The leading term is 2x cubed. The leading coefficient is 2. The coefficient on x squared is minus 4. And I don't have an x in this polynomial, so we could think of the coefficient on x as being 0, but there's no need to write that here, because it's just 0. And then the constant term is plus 1. And so we can think about adding polynomials together. And so when we do that, let's have another example. Let's have 3x cubed and 5x squared. And in this second polynomial, I will put an x term. So 2x and then minus 4. And so if I want to add these two polynomials together, I need to add like terms. So I'm going to add x cubed terms, x squared terms, x terms, and then constant terms. And so it's nice, actually, if we line things up. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to move that 1 over here so that it lines up in the constant column. And then we can see explicitly that we don't have any x's to worry about in that first polynomial. So now I'm just going to add down the columns. So I've got 2 and 3 for the x cubed term. So that's going to give me 5x cubed. And then we've got minus 4 plus 5. So we've got 1x squared. We've got 2x. And then plus 1 minus 4 minus 3. So that's when we add the two polynomials together. We could also think about subtracting this second polynomial from the first one. So let's see what they look like if I subtract them. Same kind of idea. I'm just looking at terms in the columns. So now I've got 2 minus 3. So I'll have minus x cubed. And we've got minus 4 minus 5. So minus 9x squared. We don't have any x's, and we're subtracting 2x. So that will leave us with minus 2x. And then we've got, for the constant term, plus 1 minus 4. So that's plus 1 plus 4, so plus 5. To multiply polynomials, we can think of this just as repeated addition or subtraction. So what I mean by that is, let's take this first polynomial again, and let's multiply it by 2. So 2 times 2x cubed minus 4x squared plus 1. And we can think of this as just repeated addition. So it's one of these. And then another one. And we know how to do addition because we just did it a few minutes ago. So we'll have 4x cubed, and we'll have minus 8x squared plus 2. And so thinking about multiplication in these terms, repeated addition, we can also have repeated subtraction if we have a negative number that we're multiplying by. And we don't need to write this out in full each time. So as an another example, if we did minus 3 times this polynomial, then I could write it out 2x cubed minus 4x squared plus 1, and then another one, and then another one, and then we're going to subtract because we've got minus 3. But instead I'll just kind of do this, just thinking through what I'm doing. So I've got minus 3 times 2x cubed. So that'll be minus 6x cubed. And then we've got minus 3 times minus 4x squared. That'll be plus 12x squared. And then we've got minus 3 times plus 1. So we've got minus 3. We can also combine these ideas, combine the idea of addition subtraction with multiplication, and do an example like, say, 2x squared plus 3x minus 2. So this is one polynomial. And then we're going to subtract 2 times another polynomial, minus 3x cubed minus x squared plus 1. And to minimize the amount of writing I'm doing and reorganizing, I'm going to think ahead to end up with a polynomial where the highest power of x is written first and in descending order all the way down to the constant. So just looking at this, I can see my highest power is x cubed, and I've got minus 2 times minus 3 x cubed, so that will be plus 6x cubed. And then next we've got x squared, we've got 2x squared here, and then over here we've got minus 2 times minus x squared, so that will be plus 2x squared. So overall we've got 4x squared. And then next we've got an x term. We don't have an x term over here, but we have one here, so we've got plus 3x. And then finally the constant, we've got minus 2 here, and minus 2 times plus 1, which is minus 2, so we'll have minus 4. We can apply the same approach to add and subtract polynomials with more than one variable. So as an example, let's do 2 times and then 3x squared and xy. So I'm bringing in a second variable here, and 2y plus 1. And then let's subtract another polynomial that involves x and y. X squared minus 2y squared plus 3x minus 4y. So similar idea to when we were just looking at a single variable, which is wanting to add terms that have similar x's and y's and the corresponding exponents for those. So, and again, try and minimize the amount of work we do. Let's just be kind of organized with the way that we do the calculation and write things down. So let's pick out the x squared terms first. So we got 2 times 3 here, so that would be 6, and then we got minus 1 here, so we got 5x squared. And let's maybe pick out the y squared term next. So there's no y squared in the first polynomial, but there's minus 2 for the second polynomial, so that would be plus 2y squared. And then next we could pick out the xy. So there's 1 here. There aren't any over here, so we just got the 1 here, but we're multiplying it by 2. So 2xy. And then let's do the x term. There's no x term in the first one, There's a plus 3 here, but there's a minus sign in front of it, so that would be minus 3x. And then y, we've got 2 times 2, we've got 4 here. And then minus 4, so another plus 4. So we've got 8y. And then what have we got left? Just the constant term is left. There's no constant term in the second polynomial, so we're going to have 2 times 1 for the constant term, so 2. So at this point, pause the video and see if you can do the next 2 polynomial addition, subtraction, multiplication problems, and then come back to the video and see if you got the correct answers. So for the first one, I'd like you to do 2 times x cubed minus 3x squared plus 4, and then subtract 3 times minus 2x squared minus x plus 3. And then for the second one, let's introduce y for the second one. Let's do x squared and 3xy plus 4x minus y. And then let's add 2 times 4y squared and minus 3xy minus 2x plus 2. Okay, so let's see how you did. So for this first one, we've got, let's look for the highest exponent for the x's. So we got an x cubed and times 2. So 2x cubed. And then the x squared, we got 2 times minus 3, so minus 6. And then minus 3 times minus 2 is plus 6. So the x squared terms goes away. We end up with 0 times x squared, so I won't even bother writing that down. And then next we've got the x term. There's no x term here, but there is here, minus 3 times minus 1, so plus 3x. And then the constant term, 2 times 4 is 8, and minus 3 times plus 3 minus 9, 8 minus 9 minus 1. And then for the second one, so let's do the x squareds first. We don't have any in the second term, so we've just got the one in the first term to worry about. Then let's do y squared. So we don't have any y squared in the first term, and in the second term we have 8y squared. And then let's do x, y. We got plus 3 here, and then plus 2 times minus 3, so minus 6. So we'll have minus 3 x, y. And let's do x next, 4x. And then plus 2 times minus 2, minus 4. So plus 4 minus 4, so the x's go away. And then y, we've got minus y here, and we don't have y's here, so just minus y. And then finally the constant term, no constant term in the first one, but in the second one we got plus 2 times plus 2, so plus 4. So that's it for this video. In the next video we'll stay with polynomials. We've talked about adding them, subtracting them, multiplying them by constants, but in the next video I'll talk about multiplying entire polynomials together.